As an artist in today's world, one of the most valuable things you can do is share your work. Let people see it and hopefully it will resonate with an audience. The easiest way to do that nowadays is online or virtually. Sharing your work through different social media platforms or forums online, it's pretty much all done virtually. Well, what if I told you there's another way to share your work that's much less virtual and, in my opinion, much more impactful? And yes, I am talking about the old archaic way of bookmaking. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is photography books, photo books. In today's world, I feel like artists and creatives are in a constant need to share their work online. We are chronically online and totally addicted to it, and I am also to blame for that. And sometimes I like to try to take a step back and look at art or creativity from a different aspect or a different medium. One of the best mediums that I have found is photo books and creative books. Whether it's a book that's just about photography, how-to books on photography, books that showcase screenplays, books that showcase just any type of art that isn't viewed virtually, has a much different impact than it does when I'm just scrolling on my phone. It feels physical. It feels like there's something in my hands. And I wanted to talk about 5 of my favorite photography books that I look to when I am down in the dumps and not feeling very inspired or feeling the need to kind of look outside of Instagram or YouTube to find different types of inspiration. So without any further ado, let's jump into the books. So this first book I have here is by Tyler Mitchell. It's called I Can Make You Feel Good, and this book is spectacular. I'm going to read you guys the artist statement in this book. It's very, very powerful. So get ready because it's great. I often think about what white fun looks like and this notion that Black people can't have the same. Growing up with Tumblr, I would often come across images of sensational, young, attractive white models running around, being free, and having so much fun. The kind of stuff that Larry Clark and Ryan McGinley would make. I seldom saw the name for Black people in images, or at least in the photography I knew. My work comes from a place of wanting to push back against this lack. I feel the urgency to create a body of images where Black people are visualized as free, expressive, effortless, and sensitive. I aim to visualize what a Black utopia looks like or what could look like. People say utopia is never achievable, but I love photography's possibility of allowing me to dream and make that dream become a reality. And this book is extremely powerful. The images in this book are super thought-provoking. They're beautifully crafted. The prints are amazing. The texture on the photos feels incredible. And I am just absolutely blown away by the images in this book. I hope one day I can create a body of work even half as good as Tyler Mitchell's, because these photographs just make me think and make me view things from a different perspective, and I am absolutely fascinated by it. So this is a great pickup. If you guys are looking to get a book for your collection, please look into it. Again, it's I Can Make You Feel Good by Tyler Mitchell. Great book. Next up on the list is a book by Vivian Maier. If you guys do not know who Vivian Maier is, she is a street photographer that lived in Chicago and New York. She was addicted to taking photographs, and she was a nanny who really didn't publish any of her work until a man found it in a bunch of boxes. And I'm going to read you guys again the synopsis of this book because Vivian Maier is really, I'm kind of obsessed, I'm not going to lie. So, a good street photographer must be possessed of many talents: an eye for detail, light, and composition, impeccable timing, a populist or humanitarian outlook, and tireless ability constantly shooting, shoot, and never miss a moment. Vivian Maier is all of these things, a professional nanny who from the 1950s until the 1990s took over 100,000 photographs. It wasn't until local historian John Maloof purchased a box of Maier's negatives from a Chicago auction house and began collecting and championing her marvelous photos a few years ago. That literally never saw the light of day until this. So this is one of Vivian Maier's first published books. She didn't publish any of her work. She literally took over 100,000 photographs. I am fascinated by her work. I think it's really interesting, especially in today's world where if you are a photographer or creative, you are constantly wanting to share your work. She just took photos for the love of taking photos and has so many incredible images. So Vivian Maier, street photographer, give that one a look. Next up, this book is kind of heavy in 2 ways. Literally, it's a massive book, and 2, the content in it is pretty intense. And this is Magnum Contact Sheets. It is a huge book filled with thousands of photographs, and I'm going to read you guys the synopsis on this one as well. Notes to the reader. The images included both celebrate icons of photography and lesser-known surprises, encompass over 70 years of history, demonstrating the role of photojournalism in describing events such as World War II, international political and cultural upheavals in the 1960s. Weaving throughout this history are more inventive and experimental images demonstrating the range of diversity of work produced within the community of Magnum photographers. So this book is literally just a handful of images from Magnum and their photographers back in the day between 1930s all the way to 1970, and it's incredible. The images in here give me chills to think about. There's some really heavy stuff in here, very heavy photojournalism going on in here between wars and life on the streets and life across the world. So if you are looking for a good photo book, coffee table book to kind of have a pretty heavy conversation starter. This is a great book to add to your photography collection. So Magnum contact sheet, great book, very heavy. All right, next up on our list is a book called Instant Light. This book was actually a gift to me, and I don't know too much about it other than I am obsessed with the images in this book. They give off a very like eerie, uncomfortable feeling. There's a lot of nice like words and text to go along with each photo. They just kind of make you feel like you're in a different world. All these photos were pretty much shot in Russia. It gives a look into what Russia was like in like the 1980s, and it's just a very interesting, different time and different like experience looking at these photos. It's also really interesting because Russia played a huge role in kind of what photography became and creating cameras, and played a giant role in photography's history. So this book really stands out to me. It's pretty tiny, but it still packs a punch when you're looking through it. So Instant Light, Tarkovsky, Polaroids. Tarkovsky, I am butchering his name, I'm sorry. And last but not least, this book is one of my favorite books that I own. It is Jim Marshall's Show Me the Picture. Jim Marshall is hugely impactful to me because he's just an incredible live music documentary photographer. His photographs, you have seen them, and even if you don't think you have. They are absolutely outstanding. He is one of my favorite photographers, and I've looked up to him since I started photography. So Jim Marshall snapped some of the most iconic jazz and rock and roll images of all time. He documented the faces of civil rights movements. Like a camera in hand, he had the power to look into the soul of an individual and capture the mood of an entire generation. Marshall, whose life and work is now the subject of a documentary feature film, is a photography legend. So this book actually came after a documentary that they did. The documentary is incredible. It's called Show Me the Picture. And then Jim Marshall, he's just a total badass. Though, I mean, look at him. Dope dude. What was it? He was obsessed with cars, guns, and cameras was his things. So look into Jim Marshall, please do. He's an incredible photographer, and this book does him justice, I will say. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys learned a thing or two and found maybe a book that you want to add to your photography collection. I think it's important to find different ways to share your art, whatever medium it may be, because nowadays it's all digitally. So having like a physical representation of your work in hand is really, really powerful, and I think kind of look past in today's digital world. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe, like, comment. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I would love to answer them. And let me know if you guys like this video. I enjoyed doing it, so hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.